Hello everyone, Shroomraver here, and today I am proud and excited to be bringing you my Week 6 team building analysis video for the Pokémon Premier League. Yes indeed. Now, before we get into the meat of this, a few points of admin that I do want to go over. Firstly, I'm aware that this video is going up very late. I know that this video is going up very late because I am recording this team builder way after the fact. The battle for this team builder happened a long time ago. For those of you who know, or rather for those of you who don't know, there are some of you who will know this. I've been in a bit of a bad place recently. Recording and editing has felt like a chore. As far as the pre-game speeches, pre-game shows go, I've had massive writer's block. I haven't been able to think of things to do, and it's just been a bit of a chore. It hasn't been a good couple of months. But I took a bit of time off, went off to EGX with my friends, had a great time, and now we're feeling recharged, ready to get back into things. It's gonna take time. As I say, these videos are happening way after the fact. I'm writing the pre-game shows when I can, so it's going to take time. It's going to be a bit slow, but hopefully we can get back into the swing of things and really get back up to recording and editing and uploading these PPL videos for you. Now, Week 6 battle. That was against my very good friend Alex, aka Onesie Banette, and the brilliantly named, chosen by me, Birmingham Spritzee. His links down in the description below. Make sure you go and check them out. As I say, he's a very good friend of mine. His content is very high quality and very entertaining, so do check out that stuff. Now, the teams. Before this battle, Alex, he made a couple of changes to his team. The team that I could be facing off against was the following: Megaseptile Volcanion Bronzong, Thunderasterian Sandslash Gengar, Scyther, Granbull, Gigalith, and Lickitung, which is a very threatening team in its own right. It's got some crazy bulk on there. There's some stuff there you wouldn't necessarily expect to be crazy good. Lickitung stands out among that, but it's proved a problem for other people. I was hoping it wouldn't prove a problem for me. He brought in Megaseptile and Bronzong, and I was, fairly sure that there were reasons behind that. Bronzong is a very good answer to a couple of my Pokemon. So, it was always going to be a tough one, but Alex was not the only one that made changes to his team. I also made a couple of changes. At this point we were 1-4, and I should say I'll be talking about sort of things in the past tense because this battle has happened, so what you're going to see from this video is kind of what my thoughts were going into it, as opposed to what my thoughts are going into it. So, I decided I needed to make a couple of changes because, at this point I was 1-4, not in a great position, and I just really needed to change up the squad a little bit. So, I decided to make my double change for the season. We have 4 transfers in total for the season. One of those can be a double transfer. Now, wholesale changes. I decided to drop, and it pains me to say, Misdreavus and Mega Venusaur. I'm sorry, Carson. I know you wanted me to use it and get the best out of it, but Mega Venusaur had been to 5 games. It had gone 0-5, and looking at the rest of the battles I had to go, it didn't have a very good matchup, I figured, against any of them. So I thought, get rid of it. That will bring me in a lot of money, along with the 3 million I had left over, and the 2 million I got from Misdreavus. In total, that gave me 22 million to work with. And I'll go over the picks I chose with that 22 million as we get into them, because I am bringing both of them to this game. But that is not the first thing that we're going to go over. Let's take a look now, without further ado, at the team I decided to bring to this game against Alex. So first up we have on your screen right about now, Excadrill. Excadrill with the Life Orb. We got Sandrush as the ability. Swords Dance, Earthquake, Ironhead, Rock Slide. We're going balls to the wall. We've got 44 in HP, max attack element, 4 into each defense, and 204 in speed. Now, you'll notice it has Sandrush, because, I've got a few Pokemon on my team that can bring sand. Notable among them is Hitmontop. So I decided, might be cool to bring sand. Because at +2 from the sand, Excadrill doesn't need to be particularly fast to outspeed a lot of stuff, including Scarfers. And that is exactly what this set does. At the +2 speed from the Sand Rush that I can set up, as I say, with Hitmontop, I'll be outspeeding all the Scarfers on his team, and that's very useful. And you know, Swords Dance, if I can get that up and get the speed, we're going to be in business. You know, this is what Excadrill does, it's his bread and butter. Earthquake, Ironhead, Rock Slide, that hits pretty much everything on his team. You know, the things it doesn't hit super effectively are either very frail, or I need other things to deal with. You know, you're looking at Mega Sceptile, that's frail as hell. Volcanion goes down. Bronzong, the thing that Alex brought in to deal with Excadrill. You know, that I need another way of dealing with. Thunderous Therian goes down. Sandslash will take a hit. Harryarm will take it but not well. Crobat probably goes down. Scyther down. Gramble down. Gigalith down to Sturdy. And Lickitung. Lickitung is the thing that will take on Excadrill the best, I think. But yeah, that's pretty much Excadrill. Now, I mentioned that I have mons on my team that can bring manual sand. I haven't brought any of them because it's time for our first new member of the team, and that is going to be Hippowdon. Rizzipowdon, I decided, finally, probably about 5 weeks too late to drop sand. I didn't want to drop sand at the beginning of the season, I just wanted an Excadrill, but you know, looking at the poor performance of my team so far and myself, I figured, you know what, let's just do it, bite the bullet, go for Hippowdon. So I brought in Hippowdon. This is a very sort of standardish, specially defensive set with Sandstream, Smooth Rock to keep that sand up for as long as possible. Earthquake, Crunch, Ice Fang, and Slack Off. Slack Off, very useful stuff. I've gone with 3 attacks here. Earthquake is very much the standard. Crunch allows me to hit the likes of Bronzong, which I'm fairly certain is coming. Ice Fang, I figured that was the next best coverage move. You know, I could pack Stone Edge or something for the Crobat and the Scyther, but realistically, I figured Ice Fang would be best because it gets that neutral hit in on a lot of things. It has the super effective on Crobat and Scyther, and it hits the Mega Sceptile for quad damage as well. Now I am specially defensive, so it's possible that I can take a hit or two around. So yeah, that's just the sand offense. I drafted in sand to support Excadrill better. I figured I need to lean more on Excadrill as the offensive powerhouse of this team. So that's the second pick. Third up, and that is going to be the other new member of the team. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Spiritomb. I decided I wanted a ghost that was very bulky. I'd got rid of my spin block in the form of Misdreavus, but I still wanted a bulky ghost. Ideally, I kind of wanted it not to be weak to dark and ghost, so I thought, you know what, bring in Spiritomb, why the hell not? And as you can see, this is a very strange set. We've got max HP, 236 in defense, bold nature with 20 into speed. We've got Infestation, Toxic, Sub Pain Split, and we have a Binding Band. This is an interesting set. I ummed and ahed about this for a long time. I wanted to run Taunt. I wanted to run Infestation, Toxic, Taunt, Sub, and be a real dick about it. But I wanted some recovery because I wanted to run Binding Band to boost the power of Infestation. And I also realised at the last minute that Taunt would be useless against the likes of Lickitung, because of course Lickitung gets Oblivious, which prevents the Taunt. Is it Oblivious or is it its other move? It's got one ability that prevents Taunt from working. I think it's Oblivious, but I decided in the end to go with Infestation, Toxic, Subsplit. Feeling like if you bought Lickitung, that would be able to deal with it. I have 20 into speed, just to speed creeping Pokemon like, say, the Bronzong or the Lickitung. This Spiritomb is designed to try and do damage to those guys, you know. Get the Toxic onto it, get the Sub up before they can hit me with a status of their own, which I'm expecting if he brings them to pack on both. And then just start, you know, trapping, toxicking, wearing them down. Binding Band takes the additional residual damage of Infestation up to 1/6 instead of 1/8, which is fantastic. And you know, with Toxic racking up and me pain splitting if he brings in, if he can bring in something else, you know, it's just going to be an annoyance. Really, that's what I'm hoping for. Infiltrator there, better than Pressure at this stage. In case he wants to sub up with something to avoid a Toxic, you know, be nice to sort of get through that sub. So that is going to be Hypnodisc, the Spiritomb. And fourth up, the next member of the team, that is going to be Torkoal. We have a Rocky Helmet, physically defensive Torkoal here with the Shell Armor, Lava Plume, Rapid Spin, Will-O-Wisp, and Stealth Rock. This is your very, very standard Torkoal. fully physically defensive, tank those physical hits as well as possible from the likes of Hariyama, Crobat. You know, if I can get the rocks up and Crobat's U-turning around, it's going to be taking rocks damage, it's going to be taking Rocky Helmet damage. If I can get a burn on that, that puts even more pressure on that as one of his potential hazard removers, which he's going to want to bring some hazard removal. You know, he's got Volcanion, he's got Thundurus Therian, he's got Scyther, the Crobat, the sturdy Gigalith. These things do not want to be taking rocks damage, so he's going to be bringing some form of hazard removal. And if it's Crobat, Torkoal can put good pressure on that. It'll also, you know, take hits from his other physical attackers, which, to be fair, he doesn't have all that many of, but, you know, Torkoal isn't going to be taking hits from the big threats, especially on the special side. But a lot of Alex's physical threats are more traditional low tier, and not necessarily the hardest hitters. So Torkoal is going to be able to deal with the likes of Crobat. Scyther, admittedly, is a hard hitter, but not against Torkoal. Similar kind of thing with Hariyama, Granbull, Gigalith, maybe even, and certainly the Lickitung. So that's Torkoal, say, very standard stuff. Sorry, bit of a cut there. Yes, so next up we are going to have the 5th member of the team, that's Greninja. Focus Sash, Torrent ability of course, Scald, Dark Pulse, Extra Sentry, Ice Beam, 92 HP, 164 speed with that timid nature, the rest go into special attack. This is just my sort of go-to fast special attacker. It's a contingency for the Mega Sceptile, which is of course very quick. This guy will outspeed everything on Alex's team that isn't scarfed, I believe. Even the Mega Sceptile will be out. Actually, the Mega Sceptile might outspeed me. But I think I outspeed the Mega Sceptile, I'm not sure. Either way, you know, it's got the Sash to take any hit from the Mega Sceptile if it were full, hit back with an Ice Beam. And, you know, this guy will hit most things for super effective damage. Obviously, the Volcanion is a problem in that regard, but pretty much everything else is taking some good damage from this. Other than, like, I'd guess, especially defensive Lickitung. Maybe the Bronzong, but we do have the Dark Pulse for that. AV Hariyama could be a problem. Extra Sensory still wouldn't be doing too much to it, but it'll do some damage. But as far as special hits go, on the Psychic side, we do have the 6th member of the team. That's going to be Meloetta. We have gone with an Assault Vest Meloetta spread here. Interesting one. Max HP, 60 into special attack with a modest nature, and 196 into speed. Hyper Voice, Psychic, Shadow Ball, and Energy Ball. So that 196 into speed, that is creeping what I believe is max speed Volcanion. I think I'm creeping on that. I could be wrong, but I think I'm creeping maxed out Volcanion. I wanted to creep that but still maintain as much special attack as possible, which is why I've gone with just 60 into special attack, but a modest nature. Now, Hyper Voice is very standard. It's kind of standard stuff again. Hyper Voice is pretty much bread and butter on Meloetta. I was considering Thunderbolt over Hyper Voice, to be honest, you know, to hit the Volcanion very hard, but it wouldn't be the first time that Alex has brought sub Volcanion. That's the kind of thing he would do. You know, it runs a very effective subset, as much as to say it runs a very effective spec set or a nice surprise Scarfer. Yeah, Psychic, again, it's secondary stab. It'll hit the Hariyama very, very, very powerfully, and everything else that isn't called Bronzong will also be hit for at least neutral damage. I believe by the Psychic, unless I'm horribly mistaken, which I don't think I am. Yeah, Shadow Ball is there for that Bronzong, the aforementioned Bronzong. And Energy Ball, that's nice as a sort of catch-all move. It'll hit most things for at least neutral. Actually, that's a lie, it'll hit some things for at least neutral. But I wanted Energy Ball, as I say, it's a nice catch-all. It'll hit the Gigalith, it'll hit the Sand Slash. Both of those can run nice Assault Vest sets of their own. So it's nice to be able to hit them super effectively. So that is my team. Now, looking at Alex's team, it's difficult to say what I thought at the time he would bring and what I thought he wouldn't. The fact that he's brought Mega Sceptile and Bronzong in at this stage of the season implied that he would be bringing both of them. I very much expected Mega Sceptile just to hit hard. I knew Bronzong would be coming because I had the Excadrill, and Bronzong is one of the best stops to it. I also suspected Lickitung as a sort of general answer to my special offense. So those three I was fairly certain of. I actually thought he wouldn't bring Volcanion at the time. I thought that I had a bit too much to either outspeed it or take a hit from it. You know, I have two very potent, specially defensive mons in the form of Assault Vest Meloetta and just Floras in general. Now, whilst I'm aware the Volcanion does get Sludge Bomb, I didn't think he'd want to bring it, to be honest. I thought he, I thought he would consider it a free switch into Excadrill, which is not something he really wants. Because, you know, if he gets in Volcanion and I get a free switch into Excadrill, it means he has to bring in something on his side that's built to take on Excadrill and possibly take damage early that he doesn't want to take. Now, other things I expected he would bring: Sandslash. I figured he would bring Sandslash. He could bring Sandrush if he wanted to try and capitalise on my own sand if my Excadrill isn't in, and it also serves as a spinner. Other things, I figured he'd want some speed on there, so possibly Thunderous Therian and the Hariyama, or the Crobat. I figured he'd have enough defense in between Bronzong and Lickitung. I figured Mega Sceptile would come. I knew he'd want the Sandslash. So the others, it was kind of a toss-up. Looking at that, I didn't think he had too much in the way of physical offense. So Hariyama I figured would come, and I actually think Crobat over Thunderous Therian. So, you know, a lot of his major threats I didn't necessarily think would come. I think Thunderous Therian would be the next most likely, over potentially Crobat, and he could bring a mixed Thunderous Therian, probably with U-Turn. You know, I've now got 2 ground types to absorb those electric hits. So, yeah, I think probably I thought Thunderous Therian over Crobat. So I think the final team I was looking at him bringing would be Mega Sceptile, Bronzong, Thunderous Therian, Sandslash, Hariyama, and the Lickitung. So, that is the team that I expect him to bring. You know the team I brought. I said that in a weird way. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be it from this video. So thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. Keep your eyes peeled over the next few days, hopefully. You know, I'm getting back into it, the recording and the editing, but I'm getting back into it kind of slowly. I've still got a lot of work to do. Still got a lot of catching up to do. So yeah, keep your eyes open. Hopefully I'll be able to get this and at least half of my next week's game, because again, my next week's game's happened as well. My week 7 against Sly, that's happened already. And I'm hoping that by the end of this week, I'll have been able to get up at least this week's and maybe some of next week's. Because as I say, I am playing catch up. I've still got my week 8 game to play at some point. But yeah, I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to work at it. If my stuff's a bit late, then unfortunately that's just the way it has to be. But I say I am going to work hard to try and get this stuff edited for you guys. But as I say, that's a story for another day. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to get out of here. I've rambled on for far too long. So my final thank you to you all for watching. And I guess with that, I will see you next time. Laters.